We're waiting for a few more of our guests to arrive in. Just in case you missed out the initial announcement, may I request all our distinguished guests to continue wearing their protective face masks. And there is also hand sanitizer available on every table and in your gift bags as well, so please make use of it. Safety, your safety is definitely our priority. There are many around the world who would agree that 2020 has been a game changer. There have been many incidents world over that we will look back in time and we will review and study in history as what changed the course of humanity forever. There were many changes coming in, especially in terms of going digital, having innovative technologies to help us out and reshape the way we do business. But what has really catalyzed it and expedited the entire way of looking at life and doing business has definitely been the past year. How we have reflected back and how we have learned from it today, we have yet another manifestation of that. It has been in the works for many years, many days, but I think the universe has literally conspired to make it happen at this time. And it's all about making use of this opportunity and shaping and not really feeling that everything in life is out of control and uncertainty has become the new certainty. But literally, it's about adjusting our sails to reach our destination. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, I would like to welcome you all to the hybrid, to the actual and virtual launch of HABIBMETRO Roshan Digital Account. We are especially grateful to our friends from media who have taken out time and they're here to cover this particular event. It's just not a ceremony. In fact, it's a new dawn, and we'd like to see as many people come together and take this news out. It's a new innovative way of feeling connected to Pakistan. With of course the new travel restrictions in place, for some the distances must have grown, but it also ushers in new opportunities that we must make use of. If you look back, you'll see how swiftly and rapidly life has changed right before our eyes. I couldn't help but notice that once you look at the program schedule, it begins with networking. But even that very forum and the way we would network has changed. It used to be considered impolite if you were far off and you would just give somebody a courteous wave, but now it's become a way of our lives. So even from the smallest of things, it is now really upon us how we navigate our way forward. Yes, the future is uncertain, but do we see it as bright or not is really our own perspective. So today, let's bring our focus back on the bright things, on the Roshan Digital Account. But we'd like to formally begin this ceremony with the recitation from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Jazakallah khairan. Ladies and gentlemen, may I request you all to kindly rise for the national anthem of Islamic Republic of Pakistan. So, if the meaning of life and how we look at life has changed so drastically, if maintaining distance is perhaps the most loving thing we can do, how do we continue living? How do we keep collaborating and thinking of big dreams to come forward? How do we actually deduct or deduce the meaning out of life? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the biggest challenge upon humanity right now. What comes to our aid is amazing minds who are working together to see the opportunity or to actually seek out the opportunity in this massive challenge. Today, we would like to welcome you all to the HABIBMETRO collaboration for launching the HABIBMETRO Roshan Digital Account. The Roshan Digital Account, as most of you would be aware, is a very innovative and a very major initiative of the State Bank of Pakistan in collaboration with the commercial banks in the country. It is to provide an innovative banking solution for millions of non-resident Pakistanis and of course the residents as well who would like to undertake the banking, payment and investment opportunities and activities in the country. Of course, the commercial bank in question over here is HABIBMETRO, that is synonymous to having a legacy of wonderful economic contributions to the history of Pakistan. And there are many milestones that they have achieved. If you look back to the family-owned era of the tradition of commerce and banking, it dates back to 1841. But since its establishment in 1967, the bank has progressed in the last 50 years from a one-office operation to an international organization with over 346 branches across 4 continents. Let us introduce to you the Habib legacy in a short video. All these milestones that are worth cherishing have years and a lot of effort and resource has gone into it. And you, as they always say in business, you cannot have a return on investment without the investment. And a lot of this investment comes in as the form of intention, courage, the focus, the ability to actually imagine a brighter future when the tide is against you. So ladies and gentlemen, to commemorate today's important event and to also welcome you all, may I now take this opportunity to invite the President and the CEO of HABIBMETRO Bank, Mr. Mohsin Ali Nathani, for his welcome address.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon to all of you. As Sidra just mentioned, I'm going to welcome you with very brief introductory comments about today's events, but essentially I'm just going to be saying lots of thank yous for the people who have made this event actually happen today, which is more important. On the product, there are many efficiencies which I'm sure a lot of other esteemed guests will talk about. But I'd like to start by welcoming and thanking the Honorable Governor of the State Bank, Dr. Raza Bakr Saab, who's given his valuable time to be here with us today. He has just flown in from Islamabad and he was kind enough to make sure that he returns for this journey. So thank you for this event. So thank you very much, Dr. Saab. I would also like to thank the Deputy Governor, Dr. Murtaza Saab, jinki team has been spearheading and leading this initiative. And we have received a lot of support from him and his team. So thank you very much for being here with us. Deputy Governor Seema Kamil Sahiba, she was very kind enough and we extended the invitation to her to join us and she is here with us. So bahut bahut shukriya aapka. Very importantly, Irfan Ali Saab, Executive Director, he and his team have tirelessly worked with us and made us work tirelessly as well. So that we could launch this today. So thank you very much, Irfan Saab, for your team. I would also like to thank the other senior members of the State Bank team who are present here today with us for this event. In addition, I'd like to thank our esteemed panelists, very high-powered panel we have this afternoon with us. And I'll start with Dr. Shamshad, our former finance minister, former State Bank governor, and currently the chairperson for Karandas. So Dr. Sahab, thank you very much for being here with us. Arif Habib Saab doesn't need any introduction, mashallah say. So Arif Habib Saab ko jab humne request ki, he is a very, very close friend of HABIBMETRO. So Arif bhai, thank you very much for being here with us. And Farooq Khan, extremely well-known, strong professional in the industry. And given the linkages of this scheme with the stock exchange, we thought it would be very useful to have him here, and he was kind enough to accept our invitation. Very proud to also share that we had requested Jahangir Khan Saab, who's our national hero, to be here with us and also to be the brand ambassador for the launch of this product, which he kindly accepted. And we take a lot of honor that Jahangir Saab, you are representing us. Thank you very much. And finally, a lot of the guests जो असफर ने invite किए हैं और हमारे दोस्त हैं सारे, thank you very much for being here. There are many friends over here, so I won't be able to take everyone's name, but appreciate everyone being here with us today. As I said on the product, there's lots to be talked about. I won't go into those details, but I will just say that it is a very innovative product, extremely timely. Timely because it is digital friendly in this day and environment, especially a lot of our overseas Pakistanis who cannot visit. Nothing better than this opportunity to be able to open an account digitally and benefit from the efficiencies of this account and also very attractive investment return that this generates. It's a very, very attractive product. So we are already seeing great results, and I'm sure others will also talk about those in detail, but in the last few months since the launch, there has been exceptional response to this product, which is a wonderful story, and we're all encouraged by that. And then also I mentioned the overseas Pakistanis, but this is also available to resident Pakistanis who have declared offshore assets abroad, and they could also invest in those. And we're actually seeing a very good response from them as well. So it's great that the timing-wise is good, and I think we must all laud State Bank for its vision that during this pandemic environment, it came up with this innovative offering, and which is actually helping the economy. And with the prospects that it has, we are all confident that in the next few months, we will see a continuing successful response to this. So thank you very much. In the end, I'm just going to thank once again the operating team at the State Bank, which was available to us round the clock for anything that we needed. They've been very, very helpful. Sir Fansa, once again, thank you to you and your team. And Asfar Saab from Nutshell Conferences, who helped us put together this conference, because this conference is also being, this event is also being streamlined, as we see on Facebook and Nutshell Conferences ke platform se, or hamare Facebook ke platform se. So virtually there's a far bigger audience which is listening into this event. So thank you very much, and I hope you all enjoy this afternoon and this event. Bahut shukriya.
Thank you, Mr. Nathani. And just building on what you've just said, all the people who are watching us streaming live from our platforms on Facebook, I would strongly recommend that if you see relevant people to whom this information can be useful, if they are overseas Pakistanis, please feel free to share this with them so that they're more aware. It's all about building this infrastructure, this ecosystem where people are aware of what all is out there, these innovative products that can make it successful for not just for them in their activities, but also for Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about uncertainties, we've been talking about challenges and opportunities, but truly the question really is, what can we be banking upon? And does that mean the very term of banking, the very activity of banking sort of needs more innovative solutions like the Roshan Digital Account? To talk about just that and to perhaps draw from his years of experience, his family experience of running one of the most successful banks of Pakistan, please join me in welcoming our next speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the chairman of HABIBMETRO Bank and the group CEO of Habib Bank AG Zurich. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Muhammad Ali Habib.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I wasn't sure who you were introducing, person with experience, but let's see. This is what you get. Welcome everyone to the launch of the HABIBMETRO Roshan Digital scheme. We are delighted to be part of this fine initiative by the central bank. Thank you, esteemed Governor, for Dr. Raza Bakr for being the chief guest today and for gracing this occasion. Thank you also, Dr. Murtaza Sayed, for your presence today and for your support. Honorable Dr. Shamshad, thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, it's nice to see that the good work that you did many years ago is being continued with even better, with even more dedication. So good. Mr. Arif Habib, the magnet of the financial industry, to me, Arif Bhai, thank you for being with us today here. And Irfan Saab, I think it's fair to call you the father of the digital initiative. Thank you for your guidance over the years and for working with us in making this a reality today. And finally, my good friend, Mr. Farooq Khan, thank you very much. And thank you all for participating in the upcoming panel discussions. Distinguished guests, I may not be able to mention each one of you by name, but we are very grateful that you're all here with us today, and for the many people who are listening to us today with the live streaming. Thank you all. We are grateful, and we hope that this is the mark of a new beginning for us going forward. The Roshan Digital Account is a brilliant initiative, as my colleague said, very timely. This initiative by the central bank provides innovative solutions for non-resident Pakistanis and for resident Pakistanis with declared overseas wealth. You can open a bank account, undertake banking services, payments, investments at very attractive rates in Pakistan, as well as comprehensive digital banking solutions that you will also, with the feature of being able to freely repatriate your funds. Now, how much, very short while ago, it was a big challenge to get funds overseas or for these restrictions. How times have changed, that this fantastic initiative has been launched, which is most welcome by overseas Pakistanis everywhere. And inshallah, we look forward to, bringing this to their attention all over the world so that they can participate in this very innovative scheme. As we know, the world at large is still gripped with this pandemic. As a Pakistani, I am proud of how the government of Pakistan handled this very difficult situation. We initially succeeded in flattening the infection curve, followed by a very quick, decisive, and effective response by way of financial incentives. The State Bank's various schemes, including the wonderful turf facility, have been a key factor in rescuing our economy and putting it on a growth path. I believe that the government of Pakistan and the State Bank deserve all compliments in this regard, and a special thanks by this proud Pakistani. Other countries have not been so lucky. And as you know, many of them are dealing with what may be their worst situations yet. We therefore must expect initial challenges in this scheme achieving its full potential, which is vast. But I am sure with time and energy and effort, this will be the case. For the RDA is more than just a banking service or the mere functionality. It is a promise to connect the Pakistanis, regardless of where they might be in the world, with their homeland. It is an endeavor to help those who are abroad to continue assisting their loved ones back home with financial matters and allowing them financial investment opportunities. This is what makes RDA a very special project and more than just a banking product. For us at Habib Bank AG Zurich, this product aligns so closely with our philosophy and market, which is by and large, of course, in addition to the various nationalities we serve, the overseas Pakistanis is a special focus. And this aligns very nicely with that initiative, and I believe that this will be most welcome. And a product that is here to stay with growing over period. We are delighted to have one of Pakistan's national treasures, Mr. Jahangir Khan, with us here today. Mr. Jahangir Khan and us have been associated for decades, I think 35 years or thereabouts. We were both a bit younger then. But I have found Jahangir Saab not only to be a champion on court, but off the court as well. He is therefore our natural choice to be HABIBMETRO's brand ambassador for the Roshan Digital Initiative, and I am grateful to you for your acceptance, sir. Thank you. Inshallah, I am positive that this scheme will contribute significantly and immensely to the progress of Pakistan and the further development of our economy. And most importantly, I believe that this will be a convenience and a mainstay of overseas Pakistanis in periods to come, as they depend on this for more and more, not just this period, but beyond. So this is a new era for us. It is something that brings us, albeit physically distant, closer than ever. Once again, thank you to the Central Bank, to the State Bank of Pakistan, to all the teams who have worked with us, guided us, and supported us in making this launch today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Habib. Indeed, with that very noble intention, we are stepping into this new era. And now, ladies and gentlemen, at this momentous occasion, since many of us are connected virtually or digitally, we have a very special video message from someone who is an economist and a banker of international repute. He's also served previously as the governor of the State Bank of Pakistan and the dean of the leading business school of Pakistan, the Institute of Business Administration, commonly known as IBA. He's presently serving as the advisor to the Prime Minister on institutional reforms and austerity. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look and have a listen of this very special video message from Dr. Ishrat Hussain.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am extremely happy to join this particular ceremony and wish to congratulate the State Bank of Pakistan and all the participating banks, particularly HABIBMETRO, for launching this very important initiative. For the first time, the government and the State Bank have made it very user-friendly to open their bank accounts, to invest in the Naya Pakistan certificates or in the stock market, make the bill payments, and carry out many other transactions, including the real estate, sitting from the comfort of their homes and without any importance being given to the time differences or to any paperwork, which was the part of the previous ways of transferring money from abroad. The response which we have got so far is really very encouraging. In a few months since its launch, we have already crossed $500 million dollars, and this will ease Pakistan's foreign exchange situation. It will augment our foreign exchange reserves, while at the same time giving a menu of options for the overseas Pakistanis to participate in the kind of activities in which they have their interest. The interests of overseas Pakistanis are not monolithic or homogeneous, and they have different interests. And this particular portal will provide them the opportunities to make their own choices. So I'm very happy that the overseas Pakistanis are fully participating in this venture, and hope that the others who are waiting to see the results can now be rest assured that this is a win-win situation both for the country as well as for themselves. I wish Habib Metro all the best and hope that they will continue making this facility even more user-friendly and overcome the snags or the bottlenecks which may be coming in the way. Thank you very much.
The ease and convenience of the promised RDA product is definitely something that we are all very interested in. In a number of official papers, it is stated that it will require only 48 hours for a non-resident Pakistani to actually have an account, and they don't really need to visit any premises. It can be done all digitally and virtually. But we'd love to listen and hear more about that. Ladies and gentlemen, and now it brings us great privilege and pleasure that we have amongst us the Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan as our honorable chief guest for the occasion. He's an 18-year veteran of the International Monetary Fund and previously also worked at the World Bank. He was the head of the IMF's office in Egypt and has also held positions at the IMF mission chief for Romania and for Bulgaria. His research has been published in top journals of the economics profession, including the Journal of Political Economy and the Quarterly Journal of Economics. Ladies and gentlemen, may we now request the Honorable Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan, Dr. Raza Bakar, for his address.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Shamshad Akhtar Sahiba, former Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan, our Deputy Governors who are with us today, Murtaza Sahib, I'll have more to say on you in a little bit, Seema Sahiba, the latest addition to the State Bank family. Many other distinguished, our hosts, Muhammad Ali Habib Sahib and Mohsin Athani Sahib. Many of the distinguished panelists today, Arif Habib Saab, with whom we have the good fortune of lots of discussion, Farouk Saab, my hero and a champion of Pakistan, Jahangir Khan Saab. Assalamu alaikum. Most important, I want to welcome all the employees and officers of HABIBMETRO Bank who are here today, because aaj ka jo ho raha hai, this is basically, if it's going to succeed, is going to succeed if you put in your ownership in it and your effort in it. I want to begin by really thanking Mohsin Saab for organizing today's event, for Muhammad Ali Habib Saab for championing this, and I want to congratulate you on having joined the Roshan Digital Pakistan family. I want to tell you that it is a matter of great pride, joy for us that a bank of your caliber has decided to join this initiative. And with the niche that you have in the banking industry, both in Pakistan as well as globally, I feel, and this feeling is shared by my colleagues here, that you are going to make a contribution that few other banks might be able to do so. Now, for everybody that is here, I want to maybe start by giving people a little bit of story کہ یہ جو روشن ڈیجیٹل اکاؤنٹس کی کہانی ہے یہ کیسے شروع, because ابھی we are all taking it for granted, we are doing this event where banks are getting on boarded, لیکن آخر یہ شروع کیسے ہو؟ تو یہ کہانی شروع ہوتی ہے in the summer of last year, جب پرائم منسٹر صاحب جن کی ایک ویژن ہے کہ اوورسیز پاکستانیز ہمارے جو ملک کے ایک بڑا اہم اثاثہ ہیں, ان کو کسی طرح ہم نے اپنے فائنینشیل سسٹم سے کنیکٹ کرنا ہے. That was his basic vision. That ان کے لیے یہاں پہ بینک کرنا یا ہماری معیشت میں انویسٹ کرنا بڑا مشکل کام. ان کی ویژن اور ان کی انسٹرکشن یہ تھی کہ آپ اسٹیٹ بینک کوئی ایک ایسا راستہ نکالیں کہ اوورسیز پاکستانیز کے لیے یہاں پہ بینک کرنا آسان ہو جائے. That was, in a nutshell, his vision and his instruction. Once we got that, vision and instruction from the Prime Minister, we got together amongst ourselves at the State Bank, ایک ٹیم بنائی چھوٹی سی, اور ہم نے برین اسٹارمنگ شروع کی کہ ہم نے کچھ کرنا ہے, اور کچھ ایسے کرنا ہے کہ شاید پہلے کبھی نہ ہوا ہو, لیکن ہم نے اس میں جو ٹیکنالوجی ہے اس کا فائدہ اٹھانا ہے, اور ریگولیٹری اسٹینڈرڈس, کسٹمر ڈیو ڈیلیجنس اینڈ نو یور کسٹمر, کسی چیز کو کمپرومائز کیے بغیر ہم نے ایک ایسا راستہ نکالنا ہے کہ ریموٹلی اوورسیز پاکستانیز آن بورڈ ہو جائیں, اینڈ ٹیکنالوجی میکس اٹ پاسبل. اس ٹیم میں برین اسٹارمنگ میں کافی سارے لوگ یہاں پہ موجود ہیں. ارشد بھٹی صاحب موجود ہیں, ہو از ڈائریکٹر آف ایکسچینج پالیسی ڈپارٹمنٹ. عرفان صاحب یہاں پہ موجود ہیں, اینڈ عابد قمر صاحب یہاں پہ موجود ہیں, many others. We did a lot of brainstorming. And then I had to pick somebody to also lead this in the State Bank. And I thought, who else but somebody who was until very recently an overseas Pakistani himself, and decided to quit his very, very nice job at the IMF as a division chief, as an advisor, and to come and serve his country. Somebody for whom being an overseas Pakistani would be very fresh in his mind. So I asked our Deputy Governor, Murtaza Sayyid Saab, to lead this team in the State Bank and take the Roshan idea ahead. That's how the journey started. Everything that is in front of you came about from a lot of internal discussion, brainstorming, and with input from key stakeholders, including members of the Prime Minister's think tank, of which Mr. Arif is here as well. And then we were able to come up with a system that we thought offers certain unique things, different things that have not been done before. آپ کو یاد ہوگا کہ پہلے ایک اسکیم چلانے کی کوشش کی گئی تھی, پاکستان بناؤ سرٹیفکیٹ. ہم نے اس سے بھی لیسنز ڈرا کیے, اور ہم نے جو فوکس رکھا وہ یہ تھا کہ اس کا جو ایمفسس ہوگا, it will be on lifestyle banking. It will be on a whole suite of products that we are going to make available to overseas Pakistanis. It's not just a security کہ آپ اس کو خرید لیں, لیکن ہم ایک پرماننٹ کنیکشن بنانا چاہتے ہیں between each and every overseas Pakistani and the financial system of this country. I myself was an overseas Pakistani. I know how difficult it is to open a bank account. یہاں پہ اگر کسی نے بینک اکاؤنٹ کھولنا ہو تو کوئی آسان کام نہیں ہے. ओवरसीज़ पाकिस्तानी को तो आप भूल जाएं. So, with the leadership of Murtaza Saab, others who are here, we came about with these new ways of financial inclusion for the diaspora. और इसमें जब हम ये कहानी लेके हमने ये कहानी शुरू की, तो जाहिर है पहले पहले जब आप कोई नई चीज़ शुरू करते हैं तो उसमें दिक्कत आती है, उसमें आपको प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करनी होती हैं. And we had a very intensive dialogue with all our 8 banks that started this journey. पहले पहले जब लोगों ने अकाउंट्स खोले, कस्टमर्स की कंप्लेंट्स थी, we were monitoring that. And I'm very happy to say that after a few weeks, those complaints and those issues that arose were largely addressed. And today, the ratios that we monitor of complaint resolution are in the 90-95% range, which to begin this journey were very low. So this is how this journey started of Roshan Digital Accounts. And today, where are we? कहाँ खड़े हैं हम आज? आपको ये जानने में खुशी होगी कि overseas Pakistanis from 97 countries so far have a Roshan Digital Account. Imagine, in 4 or 5 months, 97 countries, overseas Pakistanis, are connected to Pakistan's banking system. They are doing bill payment. They can buy things off of e-commerce websites, send it to their families, to their parents. They can transfer money. They are investing in Air Pakistan certificates. They are investing in the stock market. And they will be able to buy real estate, all digital. About 86,000 accounts so far have been opened. Now, is this a big or a small number? There are estimates that overseas Pakistanis are in the 7 to 9 million range. So far, we have 86,000. That means Mohsin Saab and Muhammad Ali Habib Saab, there's a long way to go. And we welcome you being part of this family to help us accelerate this journey. But here is the key statistic I want to give you. With this 86,000 accounts to date, we have already $480 million sent to Pakistan through these accounts. So if 80,000 accounts can deliver 480 million, and the estimate of the universe of overseas Pakistanis is in front of you, you can do the math yourself. My message is to all the officers of HABIBMETRO who are going to take this forward. Think of the opportunity ahead of you. Think of how large is the market ahead of you. And think what a big asset class this can become if we all work with the excitement and enthusiasm that we have in the State Bank of Pakistan. Now, of this 480 million, around 307 million has been invested in Naya Pakistan certificates, of which 165 is invested in the conventional form, and then 145 million has been invested in the Sharia compliant version of the Naya Pakistan certificate. So, I wanted to share with you कि ये कहानी कैसे शुरू हुई. मैं आपसे शेयर करना चाहता था कि अभी हम कहाँ खड़े हुए हैं, और मैं एक दो चीज़ें आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहता था कि हमारे ख्याल में क्या ये चीज़ें हैं जिसकी वजह से इसका एक अच्छा स्टार्ट हुआ है. एक जो चीज़ है वो ये कि हमने सिंप्लिसिटी को सामने रखा, and we trimmed away all the unnecessary stuff, including on the portals of the banks, to make the digital onboarding experience hassle free. Murza saab ko yaad hoga, we've had detailed discussions with banks on what is the customer journey. I myself got into those discussions. How do we keep it really, really simple? Simple की और क्या मुराद है? ओवरसीज़ पाकिस्तानीज़ को हमेशा खौफ होता है कि अगर मुल्क में इन्वेस्ट किया तो FBR के साथ क्या बनेगा. सो क्या किया सिंपलिसिटी के लिए कि जो नया पाकिस्तान पे टैक्सेशन है वो फुल एंड फाइनल. दैट मीन्स कि टैक्स सोर्स पे कटेगा और उसके बाद ओवरसीज़ पाकिस्तानी को सिर्फ नया पाकिस्तान सर्टिफिकेट में इन्वेस्ट करने की वजह से रिटर्न फाइल करने की ज़रूरत नहीं. They will not get any notices. Their liability is discharged. Simplicity की ये एक मिसाल थी. इसके अलावा जो दूसरा की फ़ीचर जिसकी वजह से हमारे ख़्याल में इसमें रिस्पॉन्स है वो ये कि ये अकाउंट्स रिपैट्रिएबल है. रिपैट्रिएबल का मतलब यही है कि अगर पैसे बाहर लेके जाने हैं तो इसमें आपको इजाज़त लेने की ज़रूरत नहीं. अरशद भट्टी साहब बैठे हुए हैं, वो जानते हैं कि सारी फ़ाइलें उन्हीं के पास आती हैं जो लोग पैसे बाहर लेके जाना चाहते हैं और जहाँ पे कोई रुकावट खड़ी हो जाती है. काउंटलेस ऐसे केसेस खड़े हो जाते हैं. लेकिन रोशन डिजिटल अकाउंट में भट्टी साहब के लिए एप्लीकेशन दर्ज करने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं. These are repatriable accounts. Third, from the very start, we decided कि शरिया compliant versions इसमें होंगी क्योंकि हमारी डायस्पोरा की एक बड़ी नीड है और इस्लामिक फाइनेंस में लिक्विडिटी बहुत है और एसेट डिप्लॉयमेंट बहुत कम. सो शुरू से वी हैड अ कीन गोल दैट इसमें शरिया कंप्लाइंट जो अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं वो हों. इसीलिए शुरू दिन से जब हमने इसमें ऑफरिंग की तो शरिया कंप्लाइंट सामने थी. और आज आप नंबर देखें कि ऑफ टोटल इन्वेस्टमेंट इन द नया पाकिस्तान सर्टिफिकेट हाफ इज़ अबाउट इन शरिया कंप्लाइंट वर्जन. तो ये वो तीसरी चीज़ थी कि क्या हमारे ख़्याल में वजूहात हैं जिसकी वजह से अभी तक इसमें एक अच्छा स्टार्ट आया है. अब मैं आखिर में दो चीज़ें कहना चाहता हूँ. एक, मैं हबीब मेट्रो को एडवाइस ऑफ़र करना चाहता हूँ कि हमने क्या लेसन्स ड्रॉ किए हैं फ्रॉम आवर एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ द 8 बैंक सो फार. क्या वो चीज़ें थीं दैट हेल्प डिस्टिंग्विश्ड दोज हु आर द लीडर्स राइट नाउ फ्रॉम दोज हु आर द लैगर्ड्स राइट नाउ. इसमें पहली चीज़ ये है टू क्रिएट अ डेडिकेटेड Roshan Digital Account unit, the head of which should report directly to the CEO. Wherever we've seen a structure like that, we have seen कि उसमें जो issues आ रहे हैं वो जल्द अज जल्द resolve हो रहे हैं. दूसरा, उन cases में जहाँ CEO ने personal interest लिया है, we have seen that things have moved forward because when we started this journey with some banks, obviously some were a bit slow, some were a bit fast. But as soon as the CEO got engaged, things turned around. And last, for a bank like HABIBMETRO, headquarters needs to ensure coordination amongst the different country offices because this is a product for overseas Pakistanis and that kind of coordination is of critical need अगर आपने इसको एक आसान तरीके से आगे लेके चलना है. तो ये मेरी और मुर्ज़ा साहब की कुछ एडवाइस होगी. एंड मुर्ज़ा साहब, इरफान साहब, they are available to you to give you feedback as this journey goes along. So ये जो दो चीज़ें मैं आखिर में कहना चाहता था, पहली तो ये थी. दूसरी चीज़ मैं ये कहना चाहता था कि देखें एट अ ब्रॉडर लेवल जब आपका बैंक रोशन डिजिटल अकाउंट की कहानी को आगे बढ़ाएगा और किसी कस्टमर को लाएगा तो वो कस्टमर एक ब्रॉडर स्टेप ले रहा है पाकिस्तान के फाइनेंशियल फ्यूचर पे. और वो कस्टमर नहीं आएगा अगर उसकी फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी के लिहाज से कोई कंसर्न्स हों. बिकॉज इट्स नॉट जस्ट ओपनिंग अ रोशन डिजिटल अकाउंट, यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग इन द फ्यूचर ऑफ द कंट्री. और मैं आखिर में आपको ये कहना चाहूँगा कि जब آپ کے اپنے کسٹمر سے ایسی کانورسیشنز ہوں تو آپ یہ چیزیں ضرور ان کے سامنے رکھیں جو ہماری ملک کی فارن ایکسچینج کی بیلنس شیٹ سے پرٹین کرتی ہیں، کیونکہ اگر کسٹمرز میں وہ کانفیڈنس نہیں ہوگا تو ظاہر ہے ان کی یہ کنسرنز رہیں گی۔ اور میں آپ کو وہ بتانا چاہتا ہوں کہ کیا ہیں وہ چیزیں ہماری فارن ایکسچینج، ہمارے ملک کی فارن ایکسچینج کی بیلنس شیٹ کے لحاظ سے جو آج بڑی مختلف ہیں کمپیئر ٹو اے فیو ایئرس اگو۔ ہمارے ملک کے فارن ایکسچینج کے جو مسائل اور جس سے فائنینشیل سٹیبلٹی پہ مسئلے پڑتے ہیں ہمیشہ شروع ہوتے ہیں فرام آور کرنٹ اکاؤنٹ ڈیفیسٹ، کیونکہ ایک وہ ہمارا تجارتی خسارہ ہے۔ ہم نے ڈیٹ کی پیمنٹس بھی کرنی ہے، ہم نے امپورٹس کی پیمنٹس بھی کرنی ہے، اور اگر ہماری آمدنی اس سے کم ہوئے گی تو ہمیں فارن ایکسچینج کی قلت ہوئے گی۔ اسی کی وجہ سے بار بار انسٹیبلٹی ملک میں آتی ہے۔ تو پہلا تو جو بہت اہم میسج وہ یہی ہے کہ یہ کرنٹ اکاؤنٹ ڈیفیسٹ جو $19 بلین کا ہوتا تھا سالانہ، آج آدھا سال گزر چکا ہے اور وہ سرپلس میں۔ دیٹ مینس اس کا مطلب یہ ہے کہ پہلے پاکستان کو کہیں نہ کہیں سے یہ $19 بلین جمع کرنے پڑتے تھے پیمنٹس میٹ کرنے کے لیے، اور اب وہ نہیں کرنے پڑتے۔ تو پہلی چیز یہ ہے جو لوگ سوچ رہے ہیں اکاؤنٹ کھولنے کا کہ بھئی وہ جو کرنٹ اکاؤنٹ ڈیفیسٹ تھا، وہ جو ڈرین تھا، وہ ختم ہو گیا، اینڈ دیز آر دا نمبرز ان فرنٹ آف یو۔ دوسری چیز یہ ہے کہ اس کو کس طرح ختم کیا گیا۔ کوئی مصنوعی ون آف بینڈیڈ اسٹاپ گیپ میجر کیا یا کوئی انسٹیٹیوشنل ریفارم کیا جس کی وجہ سے اس کو ختم کیا گیا۔ دا سیکنڈ کی میسج از کہ ہم نے اس کو ایک ایسے انداز میں ٹھیک کیا وچ از این انسٹیٹیوشنل ریفارم، اور وہ یہ تھا کہ جو ہمارا ایکسچینج ریٹ کا سسٹم ہے جو کہ فکسڈ ہوتا تھا، ایک لیول پہ اس کو رکھا جاتا تھا، پھر پریشر بڑھ جاتا تھا، پھر اس کو چھوڑا جاتا تھا، پھر ایک لیول پہ فکس کر دیا جاتا تھا، بار بار اس قسم کے ایپیسوڈز ہوتے تھے، اس کو مارکیٹ بیسڈ بنا دیا۔ مارکیٹ بیسڈ بنانے کا مقصد ہی یہی تھا کہ فائنینشیل سٹیبلٹی لائی جائے، آئندہ ایسے نہ ہو کہ انسسٹینیبل کرنٹ اکاؤنٹ ڈیفیسٹس نہ جمع ہو۔ پاکستان کی تاریخ میں پہلے کبھی ایکسچینج ریٹ کو مارکیٹ بیسڈ نہیں بنایا گیا۔ اس کو نہ بنانے کی وجہ یہی ہے کہ ایکسچینج ریٹ کو فلوٹ کرنے میں رسکس ہوتی ہیں، اور اس حکومت سے پہلے یہ جو رسکس تھیں ان کی وجہ سے اور کنسیڈریشنز کی وجہ سے یہ فیصلہ نہیں کیا گیا۔ لیکن اس ایڈمنسٹریشن میں، اس حکومت میں یہ سٹیپ لیا گیا، اینڈ اٹ واز اے بولڈ ڈیسیژن کہ یس اس میں کوئی رسکس ہیں۔ آپ کو یاد ہوگا کہ جب ہم نے اس کو فلوٹ کیا تھا جون میں 2019 میں، تو لوگ کیا کہہ رہے تھے کہ ڈالر کو کھلا چھوڑا تو یہ کہاں آسمان پہ چلا جائے گا۔ روز یہ اخباروں میں خبریں لگی ہوتی تھیں۔ کچھ جو ہیں ماہر معاشیات ٹی وی پہ آ کے یہ کہا کرتے تھے کہ ہم نے تو وہ رپورٹ دیکھ لی IMF والی جس میں یہ نمبر لکھا ہوا ہے، اور یہ جینوئن رسکس تھیں جس کی وجہ سے پہلے کسی نے یہ نہیں کیا۔ بٹ ود دا سپورٹ فرام دا گورنمنٹ ہم نے ایکسچینج ریٹ سسٹم کو بدل دیا ٹو مارکیٹ بیسڈ۔ اب کیا ہوا، یہ تقریباً 162 163 پہ تھا جب اس کو فلوٹ کیا گیا، اور آج یہ 159 کے لگ بھگ ہے۔ یہ جب اس کو فلوٹ کیا تو آسمان کے جانے کے بجائے مستحکم ہوا، اور آہستہ آہستہ کووڈ سے پہلے 154 تک گیا۔ تو کہنے کی مراد یہ ہے کہ اس کرنٹ اکاؤنٹ ڈیفیسٹ کو ختم کرنے کے لیے ایک انسٹیٹیوشنل ریفارم کیا گیا، جس کا مطلب یہ ہے کہ آئندہ کی جو ہماری بیلنس آف پیمنٹس پہ اگر کوئی پریشرز آئیں تو اس کے لیے یہ شاک ایبزاربر موجود ہے۔ اب تیسری چیز جس کی وجہ سے میں آپ کو میسج دوں گا کہ اپنے روشن ڈیجیٹل اکاؤنٹ ہولڈرز کو یہ کانفیڈنس دیں، وہ یہ ہے کہ اگر یہ نیا مارکیٹ بیس ایکسچینج ریٹ سسٹم بنایا تو دنیا میں سب سے بڑا جو امتحان ایک نئے ایکسچینج ریٹ رجیم کا آ سکتا تھا یا کبھی کسی کا ہم سوچ بھی سکتے تھے وہ آ گیا۔ and that was COVID. June 2019 میں ہم نے اس کو فلوٹ کیا. March 2020 میں we had to deal with the biggest financial crisis the world has ever seen since World War II. تو اگر ایک ایمرجنگ مارکیٹ جس نے ایک نیا ایکسچینج ریٹ کا سسٹم نکالا ہے اس کا امتحان آنا تھا تو وہ آ گیا. اور اس امتحان سے ہم کیسے گزرے, یہ میں پوائنٹ آپ کے سامنے بتانا چاہتا ہوں کہ وہ ہمارا ایکسچینج ریٹ جس کو ہم نے فلوٹ کیا 163 پہ, آج وہ 159 پہ ہے ڈسپائٹ کووڈ. ایز اے شاک ایبزاربر کچھ وہ ڈپریشیٹ ہوا, لیکن اتنا نہیں جتنی اور ایمرجنگ مارکیٹس میں ڈپریشیٹ ہوئی, اور ڈپریشیٹ ہونے کے بعد وہ خود ہی مستحکم بھی ہوا. اور یہی مطلب ہوتا ہے مارکیٹ بیسڈ ایکسچینج ریٹ کا. تو کہنے کی مراد یہ ہے کہ اگر ہمارا مارکیٹ بیسڈ ایکسچینج ریٹ کووڈ کا امتحان کامیابی سے سہ گیا ہے تو ہمیں کانفیڈنس ہونا چاہیے کہ اب ان قریب کووڈ جیسے امتحان تو نہیں آنے والے. سو اس کی وجہ سے وی نیڈ ٹو ہیو مور کانفیڈنس کہ ہماری فارن ایکسچینج کی جو بیلنس شیٹ ہے دیٹ از مچ اسٹرانگ. اور آج کے ریزلٹس آپ کے سامنے ہیں. ہمارے ریزروز آر اپروکسیمیٹلی $13 بلین. جب ہم نے اس کو فلوٹ کیا تھا دے ور اپروکسیمیٹلی $7 بلین. ایکسچینج ریٹ کی جو مارکیٹ میں آرڈرلی کنڈیشنز ہیں وہ آپ کے سامنے ہیں. اور انہی وجوہات کی بیسس پہ جو ایک بڑا اہم میسج ہے وہ میں چاہوں گا کہ آپ اپنے کلائنٹس کو دیں کہ ہماری جو فارن ایکسچینج بیلنس شیٹ کی جو آج اسٹرینتھ ہے وہ پہلے سے بہت بہتر ہے, اور انہی وجوہات کی وجہ سے آؤٹ لک جو ہے وہ بہتر ہے. آخر میں I only have one message which is welcome on board. We are very excited that we are beginning this journey with you, and as I said at the very beginning, your bank can play a critical role and it has a niche that most other banks may not have, and the success of this is entirely in your hands and with the efforts that you put in it. We'll be there along the journey to support you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Bakar, the Honorable Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan. We definitely share your excitement and your enthusiasm for the Roshan Digital Account. You've answered many questions. اگر لوگوں کے ذہنوں میں کوئی ابہام تھا, بہت سارے سوالات کا جواب آپ نے اپنے ایڈریس میں دیا, لیکن ساتھ ہی ساتھ یہ پیغام بہت اہم ہے. ہمارے جتنے دوست یہاں میڈیا سے موجود ہیں, اینڈ آف کورس ایٹ لائٹننگ اسپیڈ اگر ڈیجیٹلی اس پیغام کو آگے پہنچایا جائے تو بہت ساری ایسی جگہوں پہ پہنچے گا جہاں اس کی سب سے زیادہ ضرورت ہے. تو اسی چیز کو مد نظر رکھتے ہوئے واٹ وی ناؤ ہیو از دا لانچ, از دی انویلنگ آف آر ڈیجیٹل ورچوئل کمیونیکیشن. اور جس طرح کہ پہلے ہی اس بارے میں بات ہو چکی ہے, جو لوگ ملک سے باہر رہتے ہیں ان کا دل پھر بھی پاکستان کے ساتھ دھڑکتا ہے, اور یقیناً ان کے لیے ہمارے ملک کے ایمبیسڈرز ہوتے ہیں ہمارے اسپورٹس اسٹارز اینڈ آر چیمپئنز. A name like Jahangir Khan definitely draws a lot of credibility, love, affection and respect. And ladies and gentlemen, he's now coming together with HABIBMETRO, Roshan Digital Account, to actually take the message forward. So without any further ado, let's take a look. For the first time, the launching, the unveiling of the HABIBMETRO Roshan Digital Account communication that will now go live on all our social media and virtual platforms. Let's take a look.
Unbeatable and unsquashable. ورثے میں بابا سے ملا ہوا وہ جذبہ. ان سب کی طرح جو رہتے تو پاکستان سے دور ہیں پر ہمیشہ پاکستان کا سوچتے ہیں. ذمہ داریوں کا ریکٹ تھامے ہر روز ہر ہٹ ڈبل ہٹ کو فیس کرتے ہیں. وہ بھی میری طرح پاکستان کے لیے کھیلتے ہیں. انہی کے لیے ہے حبیب میٹرو روشن ڈیجیٹل اکاؤنٹ, जो फराहम करता है बैरून मुल्क रहने वाले पाकिस्तानी और उन पाकिस्तानियों के लिए जिनके बैरून मुल्क डिक्लेयर्ड एसेट्स हैं एक आसान तरीका। दुनिया में कहीं से भी अपना पाकिस्तानी बैंक अकाउंट खोलकर नया पाकिस्तान या इस्लामिक नया पाकिस्तान सर्टिफिकेट्स और स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में इन्वेस्ट करने का, ऑनलाइन बिल पेमेंट और फंड्स ट्रांसफर करने का। मैं और हबीब मेट्रो तो 40 साल से साथ हैं। अब आगे का मैच आपके हाथ है। हबीब मेट्रो रोशन डिजिटल अकाउंट खोलें और पाकिस्तान को सर्व करें लाइक अ चैंपियन। हबीब मेट्रो रोशन डिजिटल अकाउंट, चैंपियंस की चॉइस।
The clarity of the message, champions ki choice, definitely when we talk about Jahangir Khan, a name that we love and respect, and he's an inspiration to many. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now take this opportunity of requesting our honorable chief guest, Dr. Raza Bakar, the Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan, to please come up on stage. And may I also request Mr. Muhammad Ali Habib, the Group CEO of Habib Bank AG Zurich, and Mr. Mohsen Ali Nathani, the President and CEO of HABIBMETRO, to please join him up on stage. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to make use of this opportunity of presenting a small token of our appreciation, love and gratitude to our beloved champion, the one and only Jahangir Khan. May I request the Honorable Governor to do the honors. At any day and age, it's the responsibility of every generation to give wings and to give roots to every coming generation. So, of course, the possibilities are endless, but let's stay rooted and grounded to your homeland no matter where you are in the world. Thank you, Mr. Jahangir Khan. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here up on stage. Thank you. It means a lot. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to get into a session, an interactive session about the Roshan Digital Account. Many questions have been answered. Much of new information has been added for clarity and for our confidence in this new product. But I'm sure you'd love to learn and hear more about its potential and the endless opportunities. We have a pertinent and a very illustrious panel before us. Ladies and gentlemen, may I request you to join me in welcoming them. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, someone with 20 years of experience in macroeconomic research, policy making, and who has worked in the IMF for the last 16 years. The governor also indicated that he's left a very good job to come back and serve Pakistan. Most recently, he served as an advisor in the IMF's Institute of Capacity Development, overseeing the planning, implementation of IMF training, and the technical assistance programs around the world. He's also served as IMF's Deputy Resident Representative in China. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Murtaza Sayyed, the Deputy Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker on the panel, he has over 30 years of senior management and board level experience. He's an experienced entrepreneur and a leading business and financial advisor. He's previously held senior positions with Acumen in Pakistan and also in the UK. He was a founding partner and the CEO of BMA Capital Management. Under his stewardship, BMA established itself as a leading investment banking group in Pakistan. He has previously served as the president of the Overseas Investors Chamber of Commerce and Industry, chairman of the Young Presidents Organization, Pakistan chapter, and on the boards of prominent public and private sector organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Managing Director and CEO of the Pakistan Stock Exchange, Mr. Farokh Khan. So any seat except this one. And now, ladies and gentlemen, someone I look up to as a personal mentor and teacher as well. She served as the former governor of the State Bank of Pakistan, has over 40 years of multilateral experience with the United Nations, the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank. She's also served as the caretaker finance and economy minister and the governor of the Central Bank of Pakistan. Besides her focus on global agenda, regional experience, and its spread over Asia and Pacific and the Middle East and North Africa. She's been involved at global and regional policy discourse in supporting development and implementation of the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Shamshad Akhtar. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, someone who serves as a banking regulator, supervisor, and a prolific professional speaker. His career spans over a period of 28 years, currently holds the position of the managing director with the Deposit Protection Corporation. By virtue, he's entrusted with the statutory responsibility to protect all bank depositors in Pakistan and to compensate eligible depositors in case of any bank failure in Pakistan. Meanwhile, he manages an institutional portfolio of nearly 40 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Syed Irfan Ali. Last but definitely not the least, he serves as the Chief Executive of the Arif Habib Corporation Limited, a holding company of the Arif Habib Group. He's also Chairman of the Fatma Fertilizer Company Limited, Aisha Steel Mills, Javedan Corporation Limited, and Sachal Wind Power. He remained the elected President and Chairman of the Karachi Stock Exchange for 6 times in the past and was the founding member and Chairman of the Central Depository Company of Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Arif Habib. Am I audible? Ladies and gentlemen, keeping the SOPs of the COVID in mind, I'll have an opening prompt and a question for each one of my panelists. They'll take their times to respond to the question. And of course, then we'll open the floor for questions from this audience. And if there are any questions posted on our live stream, may I request the organizers to please let me know if there are any pertinent questions. So to begin with, if I may take this opportunity, Dr. Murtaza Syed, lots has been said about it, and I'm sure Roshan Digital Account is going to be a paradigm shift in how overseas Pakistanis can connect with Pakistan. How could you shed some light on how this initiative, because we're told that there was an interesting, you've put in a lot of your own insights and experience into designing the program. What are some of the common challenges that overseas Pakistanis face that you've tried to address with the RDA?
Thank you very much, Sidra, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before I answer your question, Sidra, I'd just like to thank Mohsin Saab, Muhammad Ali Saab, all the staff of HABIBMETRO. Today is a very good day for all of us who've been involved in Roshan Digital Account for the last 5 or 6 months. We are welcoming a new bank into the fold. It's a very happy and momentous occasion. But I should also say that if only for the opportunity to be in the same room as the great Jahangir Khan, I think that would have been enough for me as well. You know, he's a sporting hero. I think to me, the greatest sportsman of all time, 555 matches consecutively, having won, you know, a great inspiration for all of us. Growing up, you know, Jahangir Khan Saab was hero number 1 for all of us. Siddharth, to your question, I think it's been a labor of love for me because I was an overseas Pakistani myself, as the governor said in his speech, for about 20 years before I came back to Pakistan. And I had experienced firsthand how difficult it was to get connected to the Pakistani economy from abroad. Opening an account in Pakistan for an overseas Pakistani was, you know, almost impossible. You used to have to come here, spend many weeks, bring a whole collection of documents with you. Sometimes you would just go back very disheartened because you just couldn't spend enough time in Pakistan to be able to to transact. So I think for me, that was the lens through which I looked at the Roshan Digital Account. And for me, it was going to serve a number of priorities that the central bank has. Fintech being obviously a key one, but also financial inclusion, and trying to bring our overseas diaspora into our domestic banking and payment system in a permanent way. Before, the Pakistani diaspora was connected, but in a very transactional sort of way. Not in a way that was permanent or provided them investment opportunities in what we believe is a very Roshan future that the country has. So I think that was a big paradigm shift, trying to get fintech involved, trying to provide a digital experience for overseas Pakistanis. And of course, overseas Pakistanis are used to a very high level of high quality of service. And so we had to make sure, working together with the banks, that we provided a first-class user experience. Now, whenever you try anything, something like this, and I have to say that very few countries in the world have this kind of digital onboarding of customers that don't actually live in that country. So having this kind of overseas digital onboarding is a very new thing globally as well. And I've had many people that are not Pakistanis approach us and say this was a very, very big breakthrough that Pakistan has been able to do. So the first thing we tried to do was make it very easy to open a bank account in Pakistan. As you mentioned, if you have all your documents, you can sit in the comfort of your home and open a bank account in about 48 hours in Pakistan. That is a huge paradigm shift. I think another prism through which I was looking at, and together with all our team here in the State Bank, was that once you've opened the account, you also need to have things that you're able to do with the account. And so we wanted to make it a complete lifestyle experience. And here, Arif Habib Saab and the think tank helped us a lot. They gave us a lot of ideas. In the beginning, we thought it would basically be about providing the Naya Pakistan certificate. But with their help, our own thinking also evolved. And now I'm very happy to say that you can basically do all kinds of transactions. This account is for all kinds of Pakistanis, not just very wealthy individuals. If you want to transact in Pakistan, you want to pay utility bills for your families, you want to send gifts to your families, this is the kind of account that can work for you. If you have slightly bigger ambitions, you want to invest in Pakistan's future, you can invest in the stock market, in the property market, and also in Naya Pakistan certificates. So we also wanted this to be something that could cater to all kinds of Pakistanis. I'm very glad that we've been able to do that. I think going forward, we have a lot of plans also to further diversify the portfolio of products that are available through Roshan Digital Account, and I look forward to HABIBMETRO taking this journey forward as well. For example, automobile loans, consumer finance loans could also be added to the suite of products. And we think this is just the tip of the iceberg. As the governor said, we're very happy with the beginning. It's been about 5 months since we launched. We have nearly 86,000 accounts. We're at the cusp of $500 million in terms of remittances. But we still think that there's a lot of potential for this to go ahead. And we really look forward to HABIBMETRO helping us take it to the next level.
So ambitious plans, and of course, the world is your horizon right now. Dr. Akhtar, how do you see the big picture connecting? I mean, if we were just talking about 2020 giving us the biggest shockwave that could perhaps not even be imagined, but now since we are sort of slowly grappling our way forward, what has been the major contribution of this shock, especially for programs and products like the RDA? How do you think in the future people outside of Pakistan, even if you are an overseas Pakistani, will they see Pakistan as a destination of choice to invest? And is Pakistan attractive for them? How is the world shifting?
Thank you. I would be amiss if I did not recognize Governor of Central Bank, Raza Bakir, who I've had a long-standing affiliation. Whenever I was a governor and visited Washington, we had very good chats. Also the two deputy governors with such distinguished background. But right now, I think we need action. They have designed the architecture, we need action. So I'd like to congratulate Chairman Saab Aapko and also CEO Mohsen Nathani Saab. And I would be amiss if I didn't recognize my neighbor here and other fellows from the central bank. We have worked in trenches, and as Governor Saab bata rahe the, I still remember that when we for the first time opened up the banking online and also the branchless banking, they all played an instrumental role in the breakthrough. And like we are celebrating Roshan Digital Account today, we were celebrating then the first phase of automation, so to speak, which includes everything. So I think we undoubtedly have gone through a massive shock globally, and it has been a crisis that we have never seen globally. We have seen financial crisis, but right now we are in a triple crisis. We have actually more than that, but let me talk of the top three. One is, of course, the coronavirus itself, which has taken life out of so many people. And then we are facing debt crisis of a proportion which we may not recognize, but it is forcing countries to default now. Particularly 3-4 defaults have occurred in the African continent and also in Ecuador in Latin America. And most of all, we think that these two crises are huge, but there is another lethal crisis waiting for us, which is the climate change impact.
Yes.
So within that context, and I'm not going to talk about the global environment right now, but within that context, of course, it's important to recognize the global environment, and Pakistan being an open economy does face all these shocks. It's persevered this shock pretty well, despite the fact that we have had very challenging base year, which complicates our fight against international shocks. Most of all, I would say, like several other economies, Pakistan has been able to infuse the desired level of liquidity in the system, and it has been a wake-up for all of us that we need to take innovative policy steps and innovative products moving forward. And I think in that context, of course, the two things which are very critical, and the way this architecture has been pulled together by the Deputy Governor Saab, as he's the principal person here leading this initiative, is the fact that we have been able to open up an account which is not perhaps an instant, but the fastest opening of account that could happen for people who are sitting thousands of miles away, and simplified all the things without compromising the legalities and the financial complications that face all of us as citizens of the world. So I think, but what's most interesting for me is the composite scheme of things which have been pulled together and have been reinforcing in some senses. One is, of course, the Roshan Digital Account, but at the same time to be introducing a new instrument, Naya Pakistan Certificate, which is actually a central bank instrument. And I think people may not be able to appreciate that. Having been in the central bank, I can speak with pride that central bank has been able to once again think out of the box and to issue a security and to lend confidence. If I was abroad, I would instantly deposit in this because I have more confidence in the central bank than other affiliated organizations of Pakistan, not to mention specifically anybody. And I have been able to, actually, I hadn't been following this account, I have to admit, openly, because I've been busy with other things. But when I was reading up this morning about this account, I think the process is very simple. The way it's been explained anybody can understand it, and the facilitation that the central bank offers, and the banking industry that we have, which is out there to retail it and market it, with, of course, resolving the hiccups. But let me make one other point, and I think Raza mentioned this, is that the foundation has been laid by some pre-reforms before this instrument came in, and perhaps people are not appreciating that, because I came across some critique of this. I mean, obviously, I'm always very critical of whatever happens in the macroeconomic context. I think there are two sets of criticism, and we might as well address them upfront.
Right.
We are in a low interest rate environment, and in this low interest rate environment, the logical point that comes in, why is it that Pakistan is offering a return of 7% at the upper end of the maturity? I think it is legitimate if you look at the secondary trading of our bonds. It is legitimate if you look at other comparator instruments that you need to offer that. It is also logical to perceive the risk that our country faces, which is political risk, economic risk, and of course, although financial stability has been managed pretty well, if you look at the financial stability review, but shocks will continue to face our economy, so we have to cushion the interest rate to lend confidence and to attract money into it. The second point I'd like to bring in, and that will be my last point, is that look at our ground reality. It's an instrument, the certificate come the Roshan Digital. As I said, it's a composite scheme. We should not compartmentalize it. It is important to recognize the balance of payment crisis that we have been facing in this country, and our FX reserves always deplete. So the two sore points are the fiscal deficit and the balance of payment. Now, I'd like to see the central bank work more effectively on stimulating the export, because that is the most sustainable approach. But until we do that, it is very important to recognize that we need to build our FX strengths. And within that, because this is to build the reserves, and that is absolutely needed to lend confidence to our rating agencies and to our public. And I think in that context, we had a forward FX swap book of about 8 billion plus, and today it's come down. So with the confidence that we have moving forward, we hopefully should be able to lower that swap book also. And we have 23 billion coming by way of remittances from the non-resident Pakistanis. We know they have serviced this economy in multiple ways. So if we were to offer the right incentive to the non-residents, I wish it happened while I was overseas, but I know there is a component of the residents also there. It is important to recognize that we also have about 7 billion foreign currency deposits in Pakistan today also. So we are attacking both the frontiers. We are allowing for the Pakistan residents who have declared their wealth officially and have the legal assets to be able to further build that book, but also to be able to attract new flows. So I think there's a lot out there, not just the mechanics or the procedures of this, but as a macroeconomist, I think it's a very good step, but I think this cannot continue unless and until we will address really the hardcore structural reforms of our economy. I'm going to stop here.
But allow me, Dr. Shamshad, to just probe you a little more on your last point. When you spoke of, we need to have the inflows coming in, and it's a great ecosystem and infrastructure in that regard. But what do you think is needed when it comes to confidence building, of actually having that trust? I mean, it's one thing to have the product out there and the ability, so you can come ahead, you can have your account in 48 hours, but do you think that's enough to build the confidence of the overseas Pakistani?
Well, two separate things very briefly. One, I think central bank needs a genuine independence, and central bank needs to take positions vis-a-vis the government policies as and when required, rather than be in the trenches and make political statements. So to me, that is very important, because everybody internationally, as well as the Pakistani investors, will look up to the central bank, because this is a security. Of course, the money will go to government of Pakistan, so if I were abroad, I would worry. I mean, it goes into unproductive expenditures. So as a custodian of this security, I would like central bank autonomy to be enhanced, but with autonomy comes accountability, and I would like the FX mandate to be completely under the central bank, and I think there are steps in that direction. So I'd like to support the central bank in its endeavors to strengthen the central bank in the monetary policy context, but also in the FX regime context.
Right.
The second part of it is macroeconomics doesn't work until everything else gets fixed. So no matter how good the central bank is, but if it is being asked to print more and more money, which has become very fashionable all over the world with the quantitative easing, and there is a lot of criticism of how long we can have low interest rate regime and how long we would have this kind of fashionable quantitative easing. Today, it's the need of the hour. And fiscal stimulus has no brakes, and everybody wants it to go without being checked, but it cannot be sustained after this period of crisis. So I would very much like to see Pakistan raising its domestic resources eventually, which include, to me, two things. One is, and Farooq will talk about it more, which is the capital markets, which is a major avenue for resource mobilization. And Farooq knows how passionate I am about the capital market reforms. And second is the taxation system. So yes, okay, for this we have simplified the taxes, and we should simplify our taxes, but we should be hitting 22% of tax GDP ratio ASAP.
Right. If I may take the same sentiment and the same, things that we have discussed over here to Arif Saab. Arif Saab, Dr. Akhtar mentioned remittances, and of course you and I have had several discussions about it in our federal budget debates. Where do you see the sentiment of the investor is, especially the overseas Pakistani? Do you see them to be risk alert, or do you see them to be risk hungry? And especially with Pakistan being a destination for them, is it just need-based remittances, like they'd like to support a family here, or that generational dream of having a house that they'd like to build in Pakistan? Or do they actually see the potential as Pakistan being an investment haven?
Yeah. First of all, in fact, I would like to record my appreciation for the State Bank of Pakistan for introducing this दूर रहकर भी पास account. मैं ये कहूँगा कि ये रोशन डिजिटल अकाउंट नहीं है, दूर रहकर भी पास account. What an excellent tagline you have chosen. I would also like to, in fact, record my views about including HMB in this scheme, because I believe that the HMB is one of the banks who, in fact, understand the needs of the non-resident Pakistanis. They have been, in fact, involved in fact, wealth management of the Pakistanis, non-resident Pakistanis. They have been instrumental in bringing investment into the stock exchange. They also understand the real estate market as well. So it's like including HMB is like taking Rizwan in your team. So I think you'll find them, and I'm sure that they will perform very well and, in fact, add a lot of value into it. In order to put the current environment in right context, you see, according to my calculation, the non-resident Pakistanis or Pakistanis diasporas, annual income is $60 billion. You see, half of that amount they send it to Pakistan, and half of that amount they keep with them outside Pakistan. It is on average. Some people send 95%, and some people send zero. But it is the overall basis, the $60 billion are the income of the non-resident Pakistanis. So out of that, 50%, which they send to Pakistan, about 70 to 80% they send through banking channels, 20 to 30% they send through hawala, hundis, and cash. So recently, I think the surge in the non-resident Pakistani remittances has one of the contribution that the unofficial market is also came into the official market or through banking channels. So that also has the contribution into that. So now I think the banks have the challenge, the participants of the financial sector also have the opportunity to attract that $30 billion, which in fact is annually earned by the non-resident Pakistanis. For non-resident Pakistanis, I think it's a lifetime opportunity. Lifetime opportunity of getting a return of 7% on five-year instruments and 5% from 3 months instruments. I think it is an introductory price. It is an introductory price. It is bound to go down. I think it's very, very important for all the non-resident Pakistanis and who qualify for making investment in this instrument. I think they hurry up. They in fact buy the instrument as soon as possible. Because I believe soon we will see billions of dollars coming into this scheme with this attractive rate of profit. The other thing, the instrument which in fact the non-resident Pakistanis are allowed to invest in the stock exchange and in the real estate market. The Pakistan has been the most profitable investment destination in the region.
Right.
So I have the numbers. In the last 20 years, the stock exchange average return to the investors in dollar terms is 20%. In the region, China's return is the highest, 22% in the last 20 years average, whereas Pakistan is the second, that is 20. India comes about 16%, you see. And for last 10 years, the rate is 10% in dollar terms. The Pakistan is the highest, then China, and then Indonesia, and then Vietnam, and then India comes. So it means that Pakistan has a good track record of giving good returns to the investors who have invested in the listed security. Even for the foreigners, the foreign investments average return is 18% in dollar terms. So Pakistan again is very, very attractive in that respect. As far as the real estate returns are concerned, those are 20% on average for the last many, many years. So again, that is a very, very attractive sector to invest in. Non-resident Pakistanis, Pakistani diasporas, in fact, has been the most fond of making investment in real estate in Pakistan. You see, they understand the real estate, and they have been doing without having the facility of repatriation of their investment from it. Now, they will be allowed to repatriate their investment outside whenever they wish to. Similarly, many of the Pakistani diaspora, they used to invest in Pakistani capital market without having the facility of repatriation there. Now they will have this facility again to repatriate their investment whenever they want. These instruments have been made bankable also. Right. In Pakistan, if I'm a non-resident Pakistani having dollars outside Pakistan, I would send my money in the this Naya Pakistan certificates, would then use that certificates as a collateral and borrow money from them, rupees, and make investment in stock exchange or in real estate. And right. That's how I will, in fact, be getting
if I may interject, do you think there is a role for our Pakistani embassies, the diplomatic mission, and of course the Ministry of Overseas Pakistanis to actually supplement and support? I mean, yes, Dr. Bakar has called upon the collaborating commercial banks, but do you feel that these other departments and auxiliaries will also play an important role?
Yes, definitely. Why, in fact, I have built this narrative, we must have the confidence. Pakistan marketing has been poor. Still we say that there are Pakistani risk. اس میں آپ یہ دیکھیں فوجی گورنمنٹ آ گئی, یہ 20 سال کی جو ہم نے ریٹرن کے نمبر دیے, فوجی گورنمنٹ, پیپلز پارٹی, پی ایم ایل این, پی ٹی آئی, سارے کے سارے آ گئے, سیکیورٹی کنسرنس فلاں یہ چیزیں ہونے کے بعد بھی پاکستان میں. اور آج جو ویلیویشن ہے, ویلیویشن جو ہے وہ سب سے زیادہ اٹریکٹیو ہے ریجن کے اندر. 7.5 times آف پرائس ارننگ ملٹیپل چل رہا ہے, انڈیا 29 times, 7.5 and 29. اور ایوریج جو ہے اس ریجن میں سارے انڈونیشیا, ویتنام ایٹسیکٹرا جتنی بھی ہیں ان کا ایوریج 14 times ہے پرائس ارننگ ملٹیپل. ہم ہاف آف دیٹ اس وقت موجود ہیں. اور ڈویڈنڈ ییلڈ ہے 6.9%. ہمارا پالیسی ریٹ از 7%. ڈویڈنڈ ییلڈ in Pakistan at current price level is 6.9%. So you can't go wrong in making investment. میں یہ میسیج دینا چاہتا ہوں کہ آپ جو ہے وہ نیا پاکستان سرٹیفکیٹس میں انویسٹمنٹ کریں, آپ کیپٹل مارکیٹ میں انویسٹمنٹ کریں. مجھے ایز این انٹرپرینور جب میں دیکھتا ہوں مجھے نئی انویسٹمنٹ اٹریکٹ نہیں کرتی. میں او جی ڈی سی دیکھ رہا تھا, 166 روپیز کی بک ویلیو ہے, 110 روپیز پہ مل رہا ہے, اس کی ڈویڈنڈ ییلڈ جو ہے وہ 9% ہے, 9% ڈویڈنڈ ییلڈ. اور جو ہے جو بک ویلیو 166 روپیز کا 110 روپے میں آپ مل رہا ہے. تو میں نئی انویسٹمنٹ جس سے مجھے 4 سال 5 سال کے بعد جو ہے وہ ریٹرن ملے گا. تو میں یہ میسیج خاص طور پہ جو ہمارے اوورسیز پاکستانیز اگر سن رہے ہیں تو ان کے لیے دے رہا ہوں کہ یہ اپورچونیٹی ہے پاکستان میں. پاکستان میں اب الحمدللہ ڈیموکریسی جو ہے وہ جڑ پکڑ رہی ہے. آپ نے دیکھا کہ 3-4 جو ہے وہ الیکشنز ہوئے اور اس میں پیسفلی گورنمنٹ چینج ہوئی. تو یہ انوائرمنٹ از ویری پازیٹیو. ایک اور بات میں آخری کرنا چاہوں گا کہ جو اسٹیٹ بینک پالیسی جو ہے وہ انکلوسیونیس کی ہے. انہوں نے بہت زیادہ اس میں کنسلٹیشن جو ہے وہ کی ہے, اسٹیک ہولڈرس کو انہوں نے سنا ہے. آج بھی دے لسن ٹو دی اسٹیک ہولڈر. اور مجھے پتا ہے ریئل اسٹیٹ کے سلسلے میں جو میں آئی ایم آلسو پارٹ آف دیٹ اسٹیئرنگ کمیٹی, 22 میٹنگز جو ہیں وہ ویکلی 22 میٹنگز جس کو گورنر صاحب جو ہے وہ چیئر کرتے ہیں, 22 میٹنگز اس کی ہوئی ہیں. تو یہ ساری جو آپ دیکھ رہے ہیں تو اس کے اندر مطلب یہ ہے کہ پریزنٹ رجیم جو ہے they are very pro-business.
You've absolutely nailed it when you say that the economy is 80% perception اور 20% ریالٹی ہے. اور اس پرسیپشن پہ ہمیں کام کرنے کے لیے بہت سارے لوگ جو یہاں پہ موجود ہیں, میڈیا موجود ہے, لائیو اسٹریم ہو رہا ہے. دین پیپل لائک یور سیلف وین یو سیئنگ اٹ, اٹ ہولڈز اینڈ کیریز اے لاٹ آف ویٹ.
You picked the message. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arif Saab.
Thank you very much.
If I may take this to Irfan Saab now. Irfan Saab, you have indeed been the founding member and one of the driving forces when it comes to RDA. آپ مجھے بتائیں, ہم نے بہت اچھی باتیں کی ہیں. There's a lot of potential of course, but I'm sure there were challenges as well. You know, there are always challenges, there are always near misses when you are planning a new thing. تو اس نے اس پروڈکٹ کو اور اس انیشیٹو کو مزید کیسے نکھارا؟ What were some of the problems that you were facing or faced, or what some of the feedback that you got?
Thank you, Sidra. I think I'd like to respond to what Arif Saab just said first, and then I'll come back to your question. One, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Finance and overseas Pakistanis foundations, they've all been very cooperative, Arif Saab. So in fact, we have held numerous webinars with the Pakistan foreign missions, and all Pakistanis participated, and as a result of that participation you can see that the Roshan Digital Account has been very, very successful. Okay, now the first part as to what were the difficulties that we faced as a regulator, or what were the challenges. So the primary challenge was the out of box thinking, as to think about something that would be beneficial to the non-resident Pakistanis, and that would not only be beneficial to them but would also bring in the required foreign exchange for Pakistan, and would connect the overseas Pakistanis to Pakistan. تو جیسے عارف صاحب نے کہا دور رہ کر بھی پاس, تو وہ چیلنج یہی تھا, دور رہ کر بھی پاس کو قریب کرنا تھا اور پاکستانیز کو اپنے قریب لانا تھا. So that was the real challenge that we were facing. The second part was that عام آدمی کو جو اس کو دیکھتا ہے وہ نہیں سمجھ پائے گا کہ جی نیچے انفراسٹرکچر کیا ہوا کیا جی, اور what does going digital actually mean, and what does the customer journey really mean. सो असल चैलेंज वही था कि आपने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाना था, कस्टमर जर्नी को सेव करना था, और ओवरसीज पाकिस्तानी को पाकिस्तान के साथ फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर के साथ कनेक्ट करना था. So that these were the primary challenges. So we worked on कि अकाउंट कैसे खुलेगा, उसमें क्या सवाल किए जाएंगे, what were the documents that would be needed. So the second part, जो कि इधर compliance वाले लोग अगर बैठे हैं तो they were the real challenge in fact. So we had to worry about FATF, we had to worry about security, we had to worry about digital compromises, and we had to worry about whether Pakistanis would be at ease to bring in money into Pakistan. लाएंगे भी या नहीं लाएंगे? जी. So we interacted with the financial sector. We made sure that the customer journey is seamless. Customer was made the king, and the banking staff and us, we worked nights literally trying to ease things. So initially the number of complaints were actually phenomenal. Customers made numerous complaints कि जी account में पैसे transfer नहीं हो रहे, account खुल नहीं रहा, it is taking more than 48 hours, the kind of documentation that is being asked is phenomenal. Gradually, in a couple of months, when all these complaints were addressed, ironed out, and customer experiences were significantly improved. As of now, you'll be pleased that the number of complaints are there, but very sporadic to say the least. I mean, so बहुत ही कम complaints हैं. Customer journey has significantly improved. जी. And money is flowing in, as Raza Bakar Saab Guna Saab told you, $483 million, 86,000 accounts, and we are counting.
Wonderful. So the whole system, when you, of course, are in the pilot stage, you need debugging. So a lot of it has been streamlined. There are several questions coming in for the panel already. If you have relevant questions, please ask them and type them out on our Facebook platforms. They will be forwarded to me. But Farooq Saab, I'd like to come to you. Dr. Shamshad Akhtar, of course, has pointed out to the three overarching major challenges. We are looking at the COVID-19, of course, the climate change, and the debt crisis that is looming. But apart from that, even in the short term, the medium term, the world is changing. We've had Brexit, and by a lot of analysis, people say that UK is being penalized by Europe for what they have done, because there are several, different deals which are happening. The US-Europe deal, they feel that UK is getting the worst end of it. Of course, US has its own set of challenges with President Biden coming in, President Trump being impeached for the second time. In that entire environment, of course, our biggest bulks being the non-resident Pakistanis being in Europe, in UK, and US. What are they thinking? Do they find Pakistan to be a destination of choice for their investment?
Thank you very much, Sidra, and that's a all-encompassing question. I'd like to approach it from the topic that we are here on Roshan Digital Accounts, and just to, at the cost of repeating, would really like to appreciate and congratulate the Governor, Dr. Raza Bakir, and the Deputy Governor and the team here, and also HABIBMETRO Bank for this, not just this excellent event, but for partaking in this scheme. And I would reiterate what Arif Bhai was saying. I have no doubt, Governor Saab, that what you've seen so far now with HABIBMETRO Bank there, no pressure, Mohammad Ali Mohsin, it will be sterling performance, I'm sure. जो काफ़ी चीज़ें कवर हुई हैं फ्रॉम द इन्वेस्टमेंट पर्सपेक्टिव, जो इसके फीचर्स हैं, और जो ओवरसीज़ पाकिस्तानीज़ का पर्सपेक्टिव सिद्रा आप मेंशन कर रही थी, आई थिंक जो मैं शेयर करना चाहूँगा, जो शायद यूज़फुल भी होए, ख़ास तौर पे फेसबुक लाइव वगैरह पे जो ओवरसीज़ पाकिस्तानीज़ देख रहे हैं, जो दे माइट हैव लेफ्ट पाकिस्तान मेनी ईयर्स अगो. I was also briefly for a few years in overseas Pakistanis, and so share some of the challenges that you were mentioning. How robust and well developed our capital markets, regulatory and trading system is now. अगर आप हमारी regulations को देखें, SECP की supervision, PSX as the frontline regulator, हमारे auditing standards, disclosures in our annual reports, and you compare them to other Asian markets, you will actually find that they not just compare very favorably, but in most instances are actually much better. And this over the last 20 years or so, I'm speaking from personal experience. और जो आपने सवाल पूछा जो पाकिस्तानी sitting in whether in Europe, US or in the Middle East, one of the leading emerging market investors globally who we worked very closely with over the years, I think said it best. He said Pakistan is the best information arbitrage opportunity in the world. It is not that there are no challenges on the ground, but the difference between perception and reality is so great that anyone who actually makes the effort to understand the reality has immense opportunities. And Arif Saab also referred to that and shared the kind of returns. And Pakistan has frequently been one of the best performing markets in the world since the market opened in 1991 to international investors. But unfortunately, we don't get sufficient credit for that. So, जो बात आखिर में बात की आरिफ भाई आपने, brand Pakistan is a real issue, and I think all of us sitting here, have a responsibility, whether it's the media, the government, the business people, our embassies overseas, and our diaspora, that how do we, help improve that brand Pakistan, because that is the only way the valuations will then change, because despite Pakistan right now, thanks to the aggressive, timely, proactive monetary, fiscal and social policies that were followed by this government, the market is up about 60% in dollar terms just in the last 8-9 months. मगर हमें उसका credit नहीं मिलता. अभी भी आप देखें तो net जो है overseas थोड़ी selling आ रही है, not in the from individuals but from institutional. So that's a real issue that we have to work on.
Right.
Just to end, and I may be going over my 3 or 4 minutes, but I just want to acknowledge what really excites me right now is the collaboration that I'm seeing between the banking sector and the capital markets. And again, I'd like to acknowledge the governor and his colleagues of how forthcoming and open and welcoming they have been. Just now, Roshan Digital may to include the stock market investments. We are discussing various other aspects of closer collaboration between the banking sector and capital markets, and that is critical. Another big area that is being looked at by the government and the central bank, the housing and the construction sector. As it takes off, if our debt capital markets are not developed, the banking sector will not be able to do the financing that is required. They need the capital market, debt capital markets to be developed so that they can offload the debt in the capital markets and refinance that. That's just one example. And we are very excited to be working closely with the central bank on that and taking other initiatives in that aspect. एक लास्ट चीज़ जो कि ओवरसीज़ पाकिस्तानीज़ के शायद इंटरेस्ट में होए और जिस तरह डॉक्टर Shabzad Akhtar was also mentioning investing in the stock market, the country and the central bank gets the FX, but perhaps that burden of the 7% is not borne by the central bank or by the government, and the private sector is able to bear that return. And if there is any danger of unproductive activities, that's perhaps taken care of also. So I would like to highlight, I think the banks, we look forward to working closely with them to market the stock market investments. And ETFs, exchange traded funds, is a product that despite the lockdown we have launched, which is perhaps the largest single asset category in the world, worth about $7-8 trillion. It was not available in Pakistan on PSX. It is a very cost effective and very easy instrument for retail and smaller investors overseas to with one trade take an exposure to a diversified number of stocks in Pakistan.
Right.
They are now available in Pakistan, so just wanted to highlight that.
Thank you so much, Farooq Saab, and this entire panel for this. Their comments have been very insightful, very engaging. I'm getting a number of very organic questions, and before we open the floor for questions, I think if Dr. Murtaza, if you could kindly take a few of them like rapid fire, because I think this would really help in pushing the message out. So first and foremost, someone's written on our platform while watching this live streaming, a number of overseas Pakistanis have unfortunately been hit by COVID. it and they're between jobs and they're also contemplating coming back to Pakistan. So they have their lifelong savings. Can RDA be a solution for them for their move back?
Absolutely. I think RDA, as I said at the beginning, is a solution for all kinds of Pakistanis.
Right.
So if you can show the source of your income, which is a very basic thing that we ask for whenever you open a bank account, I think that's perfectly fine. If people are looking to come back to Pakistan, have an account open through the Roshan Digital Account scheme, this can work for them as well.
Wonderful. So it links brilliantly with our next question. If someone is not an earning professional themselves, for example, a housewife who's taking care of the family there, can she open an RDA account?
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
She can. Okay. My last rapid fire question for you would be, can they link their existing Pakistani bank account, like a HABIBMETRO account, HABIBMETRO AG Zurich account, into an RDA?
No, the reason you can't do that is because one of the key features of the Roshan Digital Account, as the governor was saying at the beginning, is that these are repatriable accounts. So you can actually take the money out that you bring in seamlessly. We don't want more capital to be flowing out of Pakistan than is coming in. So allowing local feeding or local connection of your accounts, I think, would defeat the purpose of this scheme.
Okay. And one more question has popped up. If within a family, a person is an overseas Pakistani holding the overseas Pakistani card and the other doesn't have it, can they open a joint RDA account together?
Yes, they can.
They can, right. So that ends the questions I've received so far, but more are welcome from our audience. Kindly raise your hand to, yes, a mic will be directed your way, ma'am. Maybe first take a question from the lady and then, sir, we'll direct one to you.
This is for the State Bank. So, do the debt statistics on the State Bank website reflect the amount that has been raised through Naya Pakistan certificates? The data page for the Pakistan debt shows debt raised through Pakistan Banao certificates. So, where do we find the NPC statistics on a monthly basis rather than ad hoc speeches?
The data that we put on our website does include the Naya Pakistan certificates. The data that we put on our website, State Bank, of course includes the Naya Pakistan certificates as part of external debt. I can maybe have an offline discussion with you about exactly where you can find it, but it is of course there.
Right. Maybe direct the mic on the same table or on the other table, and then we'll come back to you, Ikhtiar sir.
Thank you. I actually have a suggestion. From what I gathered from the brilliant talk we heard, there are two reasons why overseas Pakistanis particularly would be interested. One, they get a very good return, as we heard. Secondly, also the love for the country, being away and all that. So, that's perfectly good. So to build on this further, just a thought. Is there a way to then recognize these overseas Pakistanis who've invested significantly in Pakistan to get some public recognition through our national award systems and so on and so forth? Just a thought.
Thank you. Thank you for that, sir. Maybe direct the mic to Ikhtiar Beg sir, please. Yes, sir. Your question?
Mr. Governor, you made it possible. It's simply very, very impressive, but I have only two things to discuss with you. I think more road shows to be done, chambers and federation to be involved. I've arranged 2 meetings, Zoom meeting with the PCCI and KCCI on the request of Ashraf Saab, who's handling it. And there is one discrimination. If the placement is done by residents Pakistanis for their declared funds, official funds abroad, the withholding tax on their interest or profit, whatever you call it, is much higher than the non-residents. In non-residents, it is 10% final discharge of liability. Whereas it is for resident, but declared official money, the deduction of withholding tax on the profit is 20% or 15%, double. We are taking up this matter through FBR also. Dr. Ashfaq was here in Karachi and discussed this issue. But I will request you as a lead team and Irfan Saab to kindly send this recommendation, referring to today's meeting or whatever, to remove the discriminations. It should be 110% final discharge of liability in both the cases, because declared official money is as good as the money placed by non-residents. It's just the same. So there is a discrimination which need to be looked at. But I can assure you that a large number of businessmen are chipping up their money. Day by day, they are building up their confidence. We ourselves discuss in Federation, and we are of the views that it is the safest and the most lucrative investment by the Pakistanis, not only non-resident Pakistanis abroad, but even Pakistanis, those who are liquidating the properties now, they have declared it in their returns because the property in UAE is not good, Dubai, the prices are crashing every day, so they want to sell their property and wanted to put this money there. And you see the pace, the way it is to be built up now, mashallah. We are aiming $1 billion soon. So congratulations to you and your team and your captain, Governor Saab, Bahut Mubarak, you made it possible. We're proud of you.
Thank you so much for that, Ikhtiar Saab. Would the panel like to respond to it? Irfan Saab, would you like to?
Sure. Thank you, Beg Saab. And Beg Saab, as usual, is a very big supporter of State Bank of Pakistan. And thank you, Beg Saab. Yes, in fact, Beg Saab, we are already engaged with FBR. Or FBR as a body, like I told you, that like the Foreign Office, like the Ministry of Finance, like the Ministry of Overseas Pakistanis, the FBR is a very big stakeholder. And we have taken up a number of measures with them. They've already made some adjustments. And so, but this is, as you know, is a continuous process. And resident Pakistanis having assets declared abroad are also key investors and key stakeholders here. So we'll be looking after their interests as well. So we'll take it up.
Wonderful. Irfan Saab, if I may request you to take another question which has come online. As you know, Pakistan ranks really high as a competitor, as a player in the gig economy. So a lot of overseas Pakistanis have put together small teams in Pakistan and they work together. They're working remotely. They're asking if the RDA can be used as a business solution for dispersing salaries to their local teams.
As long as the salaries are disbursed from abroad and the Pakistanis are non-resident, only then.
Okay.
But if they are resident Pakistanis, unfortunately, no.
So if they're resident Pakistanis and the team is residing in Pakistan, RDA cannot be used to disperse their salaries. Okay. Okay. I hope that answers the question. There are more questions from the audience. Ji sir.
Assalamu alaikum. मेरा नाम रिजवान है, मैं समा टीवी से ताल्लुक़ रखता हूँ. मेरा क्वेश्चन गवर्नर स्टेट बैंक से, अगर वो इजाज़त दे दो.
सर आप सवाल कीजिए. we'll see.
मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, मेरा सवाल ये है कि वज़ीर आज़म ने अभी लास्ट इंटरव्यू में भी ये कहा कि मुल्क में महंगाई की बुनियादी वजह और सबसे बड़ी वजह जो है वो डॉलर को खुला छोड़ना है और डॉलर का इतना ऊपर जाने की वजह से मुल्क में महंगाई हुई. आप कहते हैं कि डॉलर को खुला छोड़ना जो है वो कामयाब रहा, आपकी कामयाब पॉलिसी है. तो क्या वज़ीर आज़म गलत हैं, आप सही हैं, ये बता दीजिएगा. और आपके नज़दीक डॉलर का आसमान पे जाना क्या, इसके क्या मायने हैं? मतलब 200 रुपये का डॉलर हो जाएगा तब आप समझेंगे कि वो आसमान पे गया. आप ये क्यों नहीं बताते लोगों को कि जब आप आए तो डॉलर किस सतह पे था और आज किस सतह पे है? ये 124 का डॉलर 160 तक पहुंच गया.
शुक्रिया.
आप ही के दौर में.
थैंक यू सर. एंड बिफोर द गवर्नर रिस्पॉन्स टू दैट, ये बताएं ये डॉलर खुला हुआ कहाँ पे, मैं भी जानना चाहूँगी. लेकिन गवर्नर साहब, योर रिस्पॉन्स टू इट.
जी, जस्ट 2-3 चीज़ें मैं कहना चाहूँगा. और पहली चीज़ तो ये है कि सियासी इश्यूज़ में हमें नहीं घुसना चाहिए. वी शुड टॉक अबाउट द फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मार्केट और उसमें क्या बेहतरी आई है और अगर चैलेंजेस हैं तो क्या है. अब आपको जो मैं एक पैगाम पहुंचाना चाह रहा था वो ये है कि ये स्टेट बैंक नहीं, बहुत सारे लोग इस मुल्क में यही कह रहे थे कि अगर डॉलर को एक मसनूई सतह पे रखा हुआ है तो उससे खसारा ही होएगा. अगर आप चाहते हैं कि आपकी एक्सपोर्ट्स दुनिया में compete ना कर सकें तो आप ये कन्विंस करें कि दैट इज़ अ गुड पॉलिसी. और अगर आप ये चाहते हैं कि पाकिस्तान में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ना हो और सारी चीज़ें इंपोर्ट की जाएं तो आप उसको आर्ग्यू करें. अब आप कहाँ पे ये कंटेस्ट करेंगे कि किसी चीज़ की प्राइस मार्केट बेस्ड पे नहीं होनी चाहिए? आखिर आप मंडी में जाते हैं, आप ख़रीदते हैं, वहाँ पे भाव लगता है, मार्केट की बेसिस पे किसी चीज़ की कीमत रखते हैं. तो ज़ाहिर है अगर एक किसी चीज़ की आप कीमत मसनूई तौर पे रखेंगे और आपके पास ऐसे रिजर्व्स नहीं हैं कि उसको आप बचा सकें, तो फिर आपके रिजर्व्स ही खाली होंगे। और ये कोई ऐसी चीज़ नहीं है कि सिर्फ पाकिस्तान में हुई। दुनिया की इमर्जिंग मार्केट्स में अगर आप देखें तो यही मसले आते रहते हैं कि अगर एक फ़िक्स्ड एक्सचेंज रेट रखना है और उसका लेवल कंपैरेटिव नहीं है तो ख़जाना। तो जो सबसे अहम चीज़ है वो ये है कि एक्सचेंज रेट को मार्केट बेस्ड बनाया गया और वो मुस्तहकम हुआ और रिज़र्व्स बढ़े, और आज हम जिस मुकाम पे खड़े हुए हैं वो उस मुकाम से बहुत बेहतर है जब हमने ये कहानी शुरू की। और ये एक्यूरेट रेंडिशन ऑफ हिस्ट्री नहीं होगी कि उस वक़्त जो कंसर्न्स थी आप उनको भूल जाएं, क्योंकि उस वक़्त आप जैसे दोस्त ही ये सवाल किया करते थे कि सर इसको खुला छोड़ने लगे हैं तबाही हो जाएगी मुल्क में, और आज वो हालत नहीं है। सो अगर आप फैक्चुअल बेसिस पे देखें तो जो एक्सचेंज रेट है वो मुस्तहकम हुआ है, आज भी एक ऑर्डरली तरीके से वो मार्केट के रेट पे ट्रेड कर रहा है। और जो सबसे अहम चीज़ है वो यही है कि जो खसारा था हमारे एक्सटर्नल अकाउंट्स में वो 19 बिलियन से अब जाके सरप्लस में आ गया। तो ये नंबर्स हैं, दीज आर फैक्ट्स एंड फिगर्स। लेट्स बी प्राउड पाकिस्तानीज and let's look forward to our future, because if we don't have the confidence, if we don't have the confidence, then a country that's the 5th largest of the world is not doing justice to its aspirations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. That was a mic drop moment. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, the panel comes to a close. I would like you all to give a big round of applause to our eminent panel for being here. May I also take this opportunity for requesting the Honorable Chief Guest, the Governor of State Bank of Pakistan, Dr. Raza Bakar, to please join us up on stage. May I also request Mr. Mohammad Ali Habib, the Group CEO of Habib Bank AG Zurich, and Mr. Mohsen Ali Nathani, the President and CEO of HABIBMETRO, to please join us up on stage. So as a token of our appreciation and gratitude, we'd like to present a small memento to each one of our panelists. For this, first and foremost, may I request Mr. Farooq Khan, the Managing Director and CEO of Pakistan Stock Exchange, to please step forward and accept his memento. May I request our panelists to please stay seated, as it will just make it simpler. Ji. May I also request Ms. Seema Kamal to kindly join us up on stage for this presentation of awards. Thank you, Mr. Farooq. Thank you for your presence and participation. May I now request Mr. Arif Habib, the Chairman of Arif Habib Corporation, to please join us up on stage. May I request our panelists to stay with us for a group photograph after this. Absolutely. May I first request the Honorable Governor to please present this memento as a token of our appreciation to Madam Seema Kamil. Thank you, ma'am, for your presence and participation. Next up, we'd like to present a memento to Mr. Arif Habib, the Chairman of the Arif Habib Corporation. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, may I request Mr. Syed Irfan Ali, the Managing Director, Deposit Protection Corporation SBP, to please step forward and accept this memento as a token of our appreciation and gratitude. And now, ladies and gentlemen, may I request Dr. Shamshad Akhtar, the chairperson for Karandaz, to please step forward and accept this memento. And last but definitely not the least, may I request Dr. Murtaza Syed, the Deputy Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan, to please accept this memento. May I request all our speakers to please join us up on stage for a group photograph, please. May I also request Mr. Jahangir Khan to please join us up for this picture. May I request the official photographer to orchestrate this one, please? Ladies and gentlemen, to make this collaborations truly unforgettable, may I also take this opportunity to request the Honorable Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan to please present a memento to Mr. Muhammad Ali Habib, the Group CEO of Habib Bank AG Zurich. Ladies and gentlemen, we also want to present the Honorable Governor with a small token of appreciation to truly remember this day and this collaboration moving forward. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for being here. It was truly a memorable evening. And ladies and gentlemen, before this ceremony comes to a close, may I now request Mr. Mohsen Ali Nathani, the President and CEO of HABIBMETRO, to please present the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Sidra. It's a very short 30-second message. बहुत शुक्रिया तमाम हमारे esteemed guests का यहाँ पे आने का, Governor साहब and the State Bank team, Deputy Governors, etc. and our panelists. So I just want to thank everyone, and I also really sincerely want to thank the HABIBMETRO team, which has actually worked very hard to put this together for us to be able to launch. And the last good news that I'll share with you is that whilst we've launched this offering only last few weeks ago, we have crossed $5 million of inflows through HABIBMETRO. And we have opened more than 100 accounts. So we're looking forward to a lot more success by the team, especially in support from the State Bank. Thank you very much, Ji. Thank you. Please join us for some snacks and teas and refreshments outside. Shukriya.
Just a announcement for all the HABIBMETRO staffers and team members. May I request you to please come back to this venue after 10 minutes.